professional experience spans over 32 years of management roles in financial services, IT consulting, manpower services, HR advisory, and M&A advisory. His passion runs deep in identifying leadership profiles across functional areas and industry verticals, majorly aligned towards information technology. Apart from his professional expertise, he is an active Rotarian and is currently the president of Rotary Club of Madras West. We welcome you, sir. Now, I would like to introduce our head of the Department of Human Resource Management, G Vaishnav College, Dr.N.C. Martin. He is a highly experienced academician and has about 20 years of academic and administrative experience as professor, HOD, dean, and registrar. He did his post-graduation in labor management and PhD in labor laws from Tamil Nadu Institute of Labor Studies. He started his career as lecturer from the same institution. He held various positions in arts and science colleges, engineering and media colleges. He held academic positions in various educational institutions such as Sri Chandraprabhu Jain College as assistant professor and HOD of MSW department, SAMS College of Engineering and Technology as a professor and HOD of MBA department. He was also the placement officer for the entire division of the SAMS College of Engineering and Technology. During his tenure, he successfully placed engineering and management graduates in top-notch companies of manufacturing and service sectors across the country. He continued his career in St. Joseph College of Arts and Science as a Dean of Academics and LV Prasad Film School, one of the best film schools in Asia, working as a registrar. He acted as a jury representing the Employees Federation of Southern India for the IR selection of companies for the best practices for the year 2018 to 2019. He has added number of research papers and publications to his credit, and he is expert in the subject of labor legislation and industrial relations. He has given center results in various HR specialized subjects in the university examinations. We welcome you, sir. This meeting is recorded for educational purposes. Or questions, the participants can unmute themselves or type the questions in the chat box. Now, I request Dr. N.C. Martin to speak a few words about the topic for the day. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, good evening, one and all present here. So, thanks for the introduction. So, first of all, I'd like to welcome on behalf of Secretary Sri Ashok Kumar Mundra and our principal, the Captain Dr. S. Santosh Babu. And I welcome all the professors, the students, and HR fraternities for the webinar on the topic of the face of digital HR. And I'm glad to invite our resource person Giridhar, CEO Calibre Connections, for giving his consent to host the webinar for everyone. So, implementing HR technology within an organization, so it enables HR managers to gather, collect, and deliver information. Not only that, it also helps to communicate with employees very easily and also very effectively. So the HR technology also provides the HR managers with a good decision making as a tool, and also it allows them to make more effective HR related decisions. So the technology has changed every aspect of life, no doubt. Even it is not surprising that it has a huge impact on human resource as well. So new technological advancement have changed the way we contact our employees, and in terms of storing the corporate database and files, and also in terms of judging the performance of employee as well. If the technology, if it has been used appropriately, so we can have a good impact on the HR practices of any organization for that matter. So it does so by making the human resource department more systematic, organized, and also to function very efficiently. However, it must be kept into consideration that so using in a very wrong way can have adverse effects on the entire structure of the company also. So the technology reduces a communication gap, and also it makes the communication very easier in terms of communicating due to different mediums. So we can easily communicate in a matter of seconds through emails, text, and other the message application. So using technology, many companies uses a fixed medium of communication and uses different online forums for exchanging their files, messages. That is like Skype, Slack, and Basecamp. So these can be used. So these are some of the a few companies where it is used as a tool to communicate. However, as with every technological inventions, so there are certain pros and cons. In some cases, technology can prove to be more time consuming also. So the information that is shared through a email can be easily communicated verbally. So the verbal form of communication is still considered as one of the best way to communicate in terms of updating the knowledge and communication across the departments of the organization. So this is primarily because so one can easily interpret a facial expression and it can give much chances to ask for questions. So on the whole, we can say that this technology has without a doubt brought a positive change that we need in HR department. However, it must be highlighted that the technological advancement are nowhere near to human decision making abilities. So one can only argue that artificial intelligence is going to overthrow what humans only possesses. So the truth is somewhat different. So there are still certain roles that only humans can perform. So this makes us question whether we need technology for companies. The answer is yes. Following technological practices can secure a place in the market and make the employees more aware of what is happening around and in and around the world. And with this, I conclude and leave the session to a resource person through throw much light and expertise and share his experience on the topic of the digital use of HR. Thank you. All the best. Yes, over to you.
Sir, you're
Sir,
on mute.
kindly unmute.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Okay. Am I good to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I would say early good evening to all of you. Thank you for accepting my request to come a little early in the day to this interesting presentation. Uh, Thank you, Dr. Martin, for this nice, good words about me and the introduction done by one of the other students. I forget her name, I don't see her, but yeah, a fairly good introduction. I never seen such a good one so far about me. Anyway, so thank you so much. I hope this short half an hour, 45 minute session is going to be a very interesting, useful one to all of you. I'm not going to give you a very flashy, flamboyant presentation, but it's going to be something which is probably a good takeaway in terms of certain valuable inputs for you as a budding HR professional. Okay, so before I begin the presentation, let me ask all of you a question. So, how many of you enjoy singing? You probably can just say unmute and say yes or no or yes, or put a yes in the chat. Am I audible? Am I clear? I'm just asked how many of you enjoy singing. Right. So,
There are a couple of responses in the chat box, sir.
yes, I could see that. Yes. So I want to know how many of you enjoy bathroom singing. All of you are. I mean, so extent of you know passion and enjoyment you get in the bathroom singing. Always now translate into now. Many of you, I'm sure, must be on Smule, right? So Smule is a wonderful medium, but then still a lot of people are still a mule in singing, enjoy singing on the Smule, and it's because they enjoy, they love singing, they have passion about it. right? No matter what others think about it, they still enjoy singing. They want to showcase their interest and their lovely voice. But then as we go along, you really want to, make yourself a better singer. You try to experiment with the tools available on Smule and, try to become a better singer, improve your voice quality, improve your body language. A lot of things you try and make an effort, right? So likewise, HR is one such profession where you must have the passion for it. You must breathe in and breathe out HR even in your daily life, right? If you want to be a successful HR person, like many of you might be doing this MHRM program, not knowing what it might take you to. Those of you who are into it, by involving yourself, very closely with the HR ecosystem, what's happening around you in the HR world, and try and see how much of that is there in you as an individual, as a quality or a trait in you. That is something you must do. Also get into various technology initiatives to make you a more digital HR. So that's precisely what we are going to talk today, what I'm going to touch upon today. Face of HR, in the digital age. So without further, let me, I'd like to present now the presentation. Give me a minute. Is my presentation visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, the topic is the face of HR in digital age. Oh. Some of you tell me, what do you understand by digital age? You can unmute. Do I hear somebody? Do you understand by digital age? Right. So
it is the era where everything has gone digital.
Come again?
It is an era where everything has gone digital using technology.
Okay, you're somewhere near that. We're close to it. In very simple terms, digital age is where the economy is based on information technology, and your digital technology runs deep in fueling the social, economic, and political activities globally. So that's digital age for you. So when the economy is transforming, it was quite natural that the HR role of an HR also gets, in a long way, get transformed, and a lot of digitalization happens all along. So let me just take you back and understand and let you know. Now, when you look at traditional HR versus digital HR, traditional HR, the professional is always most often is engaged in routine administrative functions. Taking care of payroll, attendance, industrial relations, employee background verification, statutory, so on and so forth. But in the digital world today, most of these mundane functions are getting automated. Payroll is automated. You have the background verification now automated. You have compliance being outsourced to a specialist. A bit of these routine HR operations are automated. Now, thereby, the HR is now left with a lot of time to focus on other qualitative initiatives, which he or she can, add value to the company based on the business needs. For instance, we will more focus on performance appraisal, employee engagement initiatives, learning and development. So these are all some of the other qualitative initiatives which he has more time to focus on, while the rest of the routine HR functions get outsourced. So when we talk of digitalization, you need to really also understand a lot of macro factors are there which really impacts HR today. So when we talk about macro factors, we're not talking about the regular economic factors. Is more of factors which are relevant more on the digitalization perspective. In a digital world, you have a lot of things happening on the e-commerce space. So most important thing e-commerce has done is globalization of the markets. So when we look at globalization of markets, what happens is you have a product, local product, as a global market, right? So naturally, business has to now focus on where there is huge business potential, whichever market it is, be able to really localize some good talent there to take care of this market, a growing business. Now, here comes the role of an HR. Because of this transformation or becoming markets becoming global, he has to find the right talent, the right local market who could manage your company's business, be an effective ambassador to your company. That's easier said than done, right? So, getting local talent itself is difficult. When you're looking at talent across the globe, you are kind of coming up against cultural fitment, language barrier, of course, at what cost? So that's another important, challenges for the HR when markets gets globalized. Another important factor is rapid advancement in technology. So, I mean, it's very easier said than done, but yeah, technology has been advancing for the decades. But what you see in the last, 5 years or so has been so rapid that, the role of an HR has really either shrunk in terms of what he or she could do manually, but the role of an HR has increased. If you look at it in the digital version, a lot of things she can do. So technology has, in fact, if you look at it, many of the routine HR functions, like I already mentioned, you have the payroll, attendance, or your background verification, all of this getting automated. There's always a threat that HR might get redundant. That's not the fact. So while he is seemingly looking redundant, here is a huge opportunity for them to capitalize on this, become more tech savvy, a lot more cross-functional roles, become a value addition to the organization. So rapid advancement in technology is an important factor today for any HR, and he has to be in line with the growth in technology. The third important factor is industrial revolution. I would like to pause here and ask a question, all of you. Now, industrial revolution has been there for many, many decades. What is it? How significant it is today? Any one of you, give a hint on that? It would be nice to have a good participative team. I have some answers, please. All right, I'm going to move on.
Sir, can you
Industrial
repeat the
revolution.
question?
When I say industrial revolution, we're talking about the Industry 4.0, the fourth industrial revolution, on which all of us are now, we are all experiencing this industrial revolution in many ways. It just started, though. Quite a lot more things to happen as we go along. Of course, if you see in the industrial revolution part, I'd like to touch upon, some of the important aspects which an industrial revolution would really call for today. Industry 4.0 is all about automation of traditional manufacturing process using smart technologies. How many of you have heard of IoT or artificial intelligence? Anybody out there? Can you please unmute and tell? I'm not able to see your chat.
Internet of Things.
Hello? Okay. For those of you who do not know what is IoT, it's basically objects which are, embedded with various sensors, software, and they connect with each other to exchange data with other devices using internet. So if you see IoT today, IoT is being applied in many industries. You can take the electronic industry, the automobile industry, the lifestyle industry, glass manufacturing industry. Everywhere, IoT is an important component today, and you seem to get now people are experimenting with IoT objects even at home. Fan, your AC, your electrical lighting, everything is now IoT enabled. Large industries are even looking at. For to give you an example, the logistics industry, which transports a lot of goods across the globe, and many a times perishable goods, huge tons of trucks or shipment perishable goods goes across the globe. But here's an opportunity using IoT technology. You could monitor the lifespan, lifespan of these kind of perishable goods, at what temperature they are controlled and maintained and shipped, and how good is the stuff when it reaches the ultimate destination. So that's one simple way how IoT can be very effective in an industry like logistics. So, likewise, in many other industries, I don't want to go deep into it. Another important technology is artificial intelligence, machine learning. So if you look at artificial intelligence, it's nothing but as against, I suppose, of human intelligence. Artificial intelligence is all about the intelligence of the machines, right? So the machines is supposed to, learn and gain intelligence through experience. So many of you would have gone through your banking system, right? If you go through your online banking login or go through a portal of a bank, on your right side, you will get a chat bot and say, hi, can I help you? What are you looking for today? Right? If you put a question and immediately comes up with a slew of answers, it would really amaze you today. How does it happen? All this is because they have implemented AI machine learning, and over the period of several months and maybe over the last few years, the machine has absorbed all the questions and comments that we put, and they learn through the process, and kind of now they are in a situation where they will come back to you with very accurate, precise answers. So AI and machine learning is going to be, as Professor Dr. Martin was saying, is definitely going to be a huge technology that is going to significant impact both on our professional life, personal life, and for the economy. The third important tool is technology is 3D printing. 3D printing has been there for many decades, but it's never seen the light because of its huge barriers on terms of implementing it, cost barriers associated with the various equipments that are needed to do this kind of 3D printing. But today, it seems to have now gained a lot of acceptance. Many companies are trying to use 3D printing technology, especially in the fashion technology industry, healthcare. 3D printing has really started in a big way. What is 3D printing? It's basically, you have, I would say it's an additive manufacturing process where your three-dimensional solid objects are developed from a digital file. So it looks very simple, but it's highly sophisticated. But the best part about 3D printing is it has a lot of cost today, and its application is very versatile across many industries. You will see the effect of the impact of 3D printing over the next 5 years to 10 years. And as it penetrates, it gets accepted as a way of manufacturing in many industries now, especially in India. In fact, as we speak, there are companies who are setting up labs to train people on 3D printing. In large business houses like the Tappers, or you take Reliance, or any big industries in our country, they are focusing heavily on how to upskill and train people on 3D printing. The fourth is the cybersecurity. Everything is on the cloud, right? Obviously, you really do not know how secure the data is. And essentially, needless to say, cybersecurity therefore becomes a very important tool for many corporations to take care of their data, both personal employee data, business data, highly sensitive business process, which need to be shared on the cloud, but at the same time has to be kept away from the intruders. Cybersecurity is an important technology today. It's going to be there. It's for many more decades to come. It's going to be there forever, in my opinion. But it probably will evolve, become more and more, foolproof, more and more stringent, which is essential given the fact that everything can be hacked today. The other two technologies, data science. Now, data science, what is it all about? It's all about, I would say, the domain of a data scientist, where he uses various algorithms and advanced data analytics to extract information from complex data. That is used for various business decisions and strategic decisions in many organizations today. So, last but not the least, augmented reality. Augmented reality is obviously means an augmented way of presenting a particular plan or a project or an object with a three-dimensional effect, where you're able to appreciate it better. AR is has a lot of application in gaming industry, in the real estate industry. I can think of many more, but then yes, I leave that imagination to all of you. So I am talking about Industry 4.0 in giving you a little more time on this, because all these technologies does have an impact on the HR. And how? Look at it. Industry 4.0 has really placed the HR professional in the forefront. He is a key driver now who defines how the work and the workplace should evolve, and how the business can continue as it is in the past, enhancing value. So if you look at it, as you can see, the image on your left side shows a person with a palm having a miniature robot in the hand. Now, what does it signify? HR is an enabler of this Industry 4.0 technologies. He's here to take care of it, ensure that the employer is able to adopt these technologies, the right kind of resources available. So hiring the right talent, especially the raw talent from institutions, is an important challenge. Upskilling them, especially the internal workforce, adapt to the new technologies, is another challenge. Facilitating the establishment of center of excellence within the company in order to mold future-ready workforce. Because without a center of excellence, obviously, you really cannot have a pipeline of resources who are ready for the future. Last but not the least, HR really have to today rebrand his employer in order to attract the right talent. Right? You have to really talk about AI, you really talk about IoT or cybersecurity. You really need to make the entire ecosystem know about your company as to what you do in these technologies. You need to rebrand the company. Obviously, you need to really partner with your CEO or the CXOs to make this work. That's an important exercise an HR has to do today to ensure that industrial revolution, fourth industrial revolution, does have a very positive impact and benefit for the organization that he's working for. So, after if you look at it, the last most important factor which we talked about, which we are going to talk about, is impact of pandemic and the new normal. So today we are all on the digital platform, and there on a laptop. You guys are all of you are there in a laptop, listening to this from home, working from home, working for home, anywhere working seems to be the new order, right? So HR in this current new normal has a lot of things to do, a lot of challenges he has to do, he has to take care of. So flexibility, adaptability, and technology is the buzzword in any corporate, any corridor of the workplace, right? If you have to look at what he can do today, he can do a lot. Essentially, he is the hero of the organization. And the CEO or the CXO or the CFO looks up to him to see whether he could, really bring the entire organization together on a unified platform, which is a huge challenge today, given the fact that workforce is distributed, the business clients are across the globe, your servers are located on the cloud, your data is lying elsewhere. Is it not? Definitely a huge challenge for the HR to bring all this together. So he has to be really good in strategizing and implementing a virtual office setup for seamless collaboration between department, business units, and clients. Another important responsibility for him today would be to ensure a proper work-life balance for employees, addressing their mental and physical well-being. Now, I would say this is a very important responsibility on the HR today, more so than ever. People work from home extended hours. You have a normal working hours of 8 to 9 hours. If you're really going to office, sitting at home, you need to really work for 12 to 14 hours, no matter where you are. You got to keep your laptop on. You got to keep your screen on. You got to show yourself up. Management don't understand that you need to have a break. Then sooner or later, I'm sure everybody would realize this. When working remotely or working from home becomes the new normal or accepted new normal, you have to really find a way to strike out a very good work-life balance. Otherwise, definitely the productivity is badly to be affected. So the HR today has a long way to go, has a lot of things to do in ensuring the mental and physical well-being of his workforce. He also has to now run the entire HR operations, the entire 9 years of HR digitally, from hiring to retiring. Everything has to be done digitally. Even after the new, if the new normal becomes acceptable and people get back to work physically, he still has to ensure that digitally, a lot of this HR operations, especially recruitment, onboarding, happens seamlessly to ensure that business needs are not, blocked. Another important initiative he has to be focusing on today would be learning and development. Obviously, in a real brick and mortar situation, you have a specific time frame wherein you roll out your workshops or a learning program for specific business units and be done with it. But in this current pandemic situation or the new normal, where everything is remote, you have no other choice but to roll out this workshops and training online. You've got to devise a mechanism whereby you are able to reach out to employees, understand what is their training needs, devise strategic programs which would support their training gaps, devise a mechanism whereby you're able to take feedback and criticism about the training capsules, and go about improving on them as you go along. So this reskilling training is a very important function of an HR today, and that has a telling impact in the quality of the workforce going forward. Of course, not but the least, this new normal definitely give rooms for a lot of ifs and buts. A lot of questions arise in the employee's mind: what they can do, what they cannot do, how they can look at things, so on and so forth. The HR is today has a very undaunting task of devising a new HR policy, a corporate policy, in collaboration with with the management, ensure that the distributed workforce globally have answers to many of their queries. Likewise, customers and clients who are distributed across the world do understand your compliance policies or your operational protocol and so on. So a lot of documentation in that space is now vested in the hands of the HR. So the new normal definitely was a lot of not just opportunities but challenges to an HR. There lies HR's ability to come up with this kind of innovative, creative solutions for all of this and gain the visibility in the organization, to make him the real hero of the company. So, if I were to sum it up, what would be some of the important attributes for an HR when you transfer from a traditional HR to a digital HR? HR today is a less human but more of a digital person. When I say less human, more digital, doesn't mean that he's losing his human intelligence or human emotional quotient in the true sense. Essentially means that a lot of labor-oriented work he will do away with, and he'll be a more digital person, and he would embrace digital technology, try and see how much of that can make his life simpler, more streamlined, and more efficient. So go a little deeper into what are some of the qualities or traits one must have. I would classify into these. First main trait is he has to be an agile person. When we talk about agility, we are talking about collaborative efforts, shorter work cycles, teamwork, mechanism to get feedback on the work done, and making the corrective changes, adopting the changes, and closing this task on hand. So agile is not, those of you know about agile, yes, you might be hearing about it in the tech space, and agile project management, agile methodology to develop or deliver a project in the IT industry. Agile is not just confined to that. Agile is more important today for HR. It has to be, from being a person who does all of it himself, he needs to really collaborate across departments, ensure that there is a participative and collaborative way of arriving at a solution for a particular problem. He must be very comfortable in delegating work to his team, create a teamwork to even complete a particular task, see that it is done within a very shorter life cycle of duration. Now, this is all about agile. Being agile is an important quality for an HR. Other next important quality you must carry is being very tech savvy today. I've already talked to you about tech savvy, but then narrow down more so on that would be, he must be on top of various HR tech platforms. He must know what tool or what kind of a HRMS solution is needed for his organization. It can be adopted. It can be used to completely automate most of the HR functions. Of course, a lot of this would also depend on the current cultural background of the company and the perception of the management as to how much of you know the people-oriented task can be automated, and how much of this they would still want it to continue manual way. What is important is, as a digital HR person, you have to really be having a complete handle on the various HR tech platforms that are available in the market, and what would you would choose or advise and recommend to the management adopt for your company going forward. Another important thing is you also need to be, comfortable. Keep a tab on the various training capsules, training programs that are available in the market. Should make a relevant impact for the business that your company is in. You might want to upskill your workforce by suggesting suitable training from the market, where they're able to train themselves, upskill, and become a more effective workforce for the organization going forward. Tech savvy also means that you need to certify yourself. Many of these, HR tech, certifications would help you. For instance, you could certify yourself in success factors, or certify yourself in Microsoft HR Dynamics tool. Anything related to HR which is available as an ERP module or something which would make you a functionally efficient person who understand the HR domain and the technology associated with it. Certification will go a long way in giving you an edge in today's market. Third important attribute is he must be business savvy. Now, what do you mean by business savvy? Well, you must have a fairly good knowledge of the business, your employee's business, and competition that impacts. Because only if you know what business your company is in and what kind of competition that impacts, you will be really able to walk the talk with potential leadership people who are interested to join a company. So for them, what is important is their potential employer worth the fit for their skills, worth the fit for their future career aspirations. You can't just talk about your CTC or talk about the role that they're going to do, but definitely you must be talking a lot, making sense to them when you talk about business and competition and how your employer is positioned well in that space. Another important benefit of being business savvy would be you could really add value in computing the human capital ROI. What do you mean by human capital ROI? It's nothing but the contribution per employee, the revenue of the organization. Right? Better ROI is obviously means better profitability for the organization. How will you be able to do it unless you're able to appreciate what kind of business this company is into and where they are vis-a-vis competition? So it's important for you to be business savvy. Another important attribute is being social savvy. You need to really personally brand yourself and market yourself within your organization and outside using social media networks such as LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, Glassdoor. In fact, there are other forums such as Quora or Flipboard, etc. You need to really know how to use these social media networks and leverage on them for your own personal branding and marketing yourself. Get your job done within your organization and also attract external talent into the company, and they look at you as a HR leader of this organization. Friends, here I like to pause and ask you all a question. Does it all make sense to all of you today? Is it all about digital?
Yes, sir.
So, so far, I'm happy. I'm glad that some of you are really saying about yes here. I'm sure many of you will be wondering and thinking, what's next, right? Yeah, we all know about digital HR. Maybe you know about more, lot more than what I've presented today. Some of you may be finding this interesting. But what's next? Okay, you are a digital HR. What's next? So let me show you something very interesting, an interesting article that appeared in Harvard Business Review on the future of HR jobs for the next decade. I'm sure that should be most interesting to all of you, right? So here I go. Please take a deep look at this slide and you will see what I'm talking about. This data is courtesy Cognizant Center for the Future of Work and Future Workplace LLC. They've done a study in the recent past by involving several chief HR resource officers, chief learning officers, vice president of talent and workforce across various global organizations. And they took their inputs as to how these leaders of the industry visualize the role of HR in the next 10 years. In the process, they came up with about 60 different HR jobs for the future, narrowed down about 21 of them, which could be potentially the various new HR avatars in the next 10 years. If you see the quadrant on the left, you will see fancy jargons like strategic HR business continuity director, chatbot, human facilitator, HR data detective. You know, we are talking about diversity officer, human machine teaming manager, head of business behavior, chief planning officer, director of well-being. Come on, I've never heard of such fancy titles. Yes, these HR leaders have now dreamt of all this. I'm sure one has to dream to make things a reality. And I'm really confident that many of these roles would become reality very soon, if not immediately, at least over the next 3 to 5 years. Some of them could take probably another 5 years, but for the next one decade, you will find a plethora of new roles coming up for the HR due to this digital transformation. As I see, as we speak, already there are a few other, fancy titles and designations already in place. You have a chief people officer, chief happiness officer, director of well-being. These are all titles which are now there with Fortune companies, and they are looking at how they can improve the quality of life of their workforce, because they truly believe the well-being, physical and mental well-being of workforce is an important aspect for them, leverage on their productivity and extract the best out of them. So this, friends, I think HR is a very, kind of a very simple supportive function, really lacks luster, and you're really mistaken. Look at this and you can fancy yourself how exciting this HR roadmap is going to be. I truly believe, like many of the HR pundits, HR is going to be one of the most hottest career destination over the next one decade. So dear friends, all of you are budding HR, potential HR leaders. You need to stay focused, but at the same time, you need to be highly self-motivated. I would like to end this presentation with a very interesting, famous quote from Zig Ziglar, America's most, one of the successful sales guru. So stay motivated, stay focused, and embrace technology as and when it comes, learn every day a new thing about technology. I'm sure all of you would transform into budding HR leaders. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. I hope it made sense. Now, I would like to end the presentation and open it open for question answers.
Thank you so much for the enlightening session, sir.
It was very informative session, sir. Participants, if you have any doubts, kindly unmute yourself or type the questions in the chat box.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Yes.
Sir, my question is really the quality, desired quality is met by taking the benefit of technology approach in HR? If yes, then how it could be, how it's measured, sir?
I'm sorry, I'm not able to hear you properly, please.
Sir, can you hear me now?
So one second, give me a minute. Give me a minute. Let me. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. My question is how is really the desired quality met by taking the benefit of technology approach into the HR? If yes, how it is measured, sir?
Okay, a good question. Well, if you look at it, when you adopt HR technology to operate, I mean, to kind of run your HR operations, right? You have, for every HR task is kind of predefined. You have certain, timeline to complete it, right? And there is a lot of metrics built into the software, whereby you can take out such reports, which will clearly tell you how much activities have you performed within a timeline. For instance, let me take an example. Let's say performance appraisal is one aspect, right? So, well, you have umpteen, products. I can just tell you, quote, in fact, uh, give me a minute. There's something called a kind of a software called HR tech platform called Human. There's another one called Appraised, other one called Credilai, other is called Intro. Many of these are platforms which are already being used by various corporations. So what it does is, while you learned how to use it to, complete your HR task, let's say for appraisal, it completely takes a 360 approach there, right from initiating an appraisal questionnaire, conducting the appraisal online, and then completing the whole process, giving the necessary feedback, and rewarding them. So what happens is, this is all time bound. You can take out various reports and metrics about it and say, let's say Officer X is doing it. They will know how many appraisals has he or she done over the last 15 days or 1 month, and whether it's in line with the KRA already decided at the beginning of the year, right? So this is one way of measuring your performance. Hope I've answered your question.
Yes, sir. I got it.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So there's a question in the chat box.
Yeah, I think so. As there is more digitalization in the HR field, one the basic qualification for HR also differ in the near future by involving more technology. Base course apart from the training part. So, what kind of additional skills can be added to the HR train? Well, yes, definitely. It's all about digital HR, right? So when your basic qualifications could be a MHRM, you still understand the basics of HR here. But when you have to, if you ask me what kind of programs can be now integrated, the additional streams could be predominantly on, more on, a little bit on soft skills. For instance, today, as I told you, work-life balance is an important aspect, right? So how you as a HR person will be able to address it. what kind of strategies you can follow. Real lifetime examples should be shared for you to understand this better. So a bit of psychology has to be there in this as a capsule. Another important thing could be in terms of appreciating how HR tech platform functions. So maybe you need to probably take I would call it more of a functional understanding of the various HR modules in a HR tech platform, which is predominantly generic. Most tech platforms, by and large, have the entire 9 yards of an HR from hiring to retiring. They have most of the modules. But there are very few others which are very highly differentiating, and they're focused on some of these modules, and they make a very significant differentiator there. But that's something which only you can Google and do it yourself. But for the ask, if you want to build certain curriculum into your current learning programs, it will be good to have a granular understanding of the various HR software or human resource management software available in the industry, what kind of modules they focus on, and you go and appreciate each of these modules a little bit. I'm sure you'll become a much more informed graduate before you come out of the college. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Another question I see is, how is an HR, the technology can be blended with the culture of the organization? Yeah, fantastic. It really, it can do wonders actually. So for instance, the most important aspect for cultural integration is how you engage your employee, right? So employee engagement is a very important initiative for HR today. Using technology, you can really do a lot of things. You can roll out, for instance, you could roll out a questionnaire as to find out from individuals what they think about the organization, what they think the good and bad about your organization. You could have it in confidence. They can share it with you in a very privately. You could store that. You could perform some analytics on that, understand, then come up with some inference as to what are the best things about an organization, what's the percentage of workforce who are for it, who are not for it, right? That's one important way you can use technology to improve your organization's happiness quotient, right? I can give you another example. You could have conducted probably a cultural event, and you could use technology to really do it in a bit better way, right? For instance, you could record the views about individuals, or pick up a mock video about them, a stand-up show by them. You can record them, showcase them on the tech platform or your internal company intranet. Give them the right kind of visibility in the organization. Make them well known in the organization. So you could be sitting somewhere remotely in any part of the world, but still part of XYZ organization. But technology has enabled you to showcase your talent across the organization in a jiffy, right? So for the good or bad, you will be known well, and you should be ready to take up criticism if there is coming your way as well. So that straight away improves you as an individual. You can improve your own personality. A lot of things can happen. So technology can definitely do wonders in doing employee engagement, improving the happiness quotient, improving their well-being in many ways. For instance, you could use, you could engage online workshops on fitness programs, yoga, and the like. Impart them online to your workforce, and thereby add value to their own mental and physical well-being. Hope I've answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So thank you very much, sir. It was really very informative session. Now, Pooja Narayan of first year MHRM will render the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Kalai.
I think my
Leadership.
I think my network is a bit weak. I think. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible now.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Leadership is lifting a person's vision to high heights, the raising of a person's performance to a higher standard, the building of a personality beyond its normal limitations. I, Pooja of first year MA HRM, would like to take this wonderful opportunity to thank our esteemed speaker, Mr. Giridhar, CEO of Calibre Connections, for sharing his valuable insights and knowledge on the topic, the face of HR in digital age. I would like to share a few takeaways from today's session. Passion is the key for seeing success in the HR profession. We saw how HR practices have evolved from traditional paperwork to digitalization. We also learned about the micro and macro factors that have paved path for the effective use of digitalization in HR operations. Industry 4.0 is the digital transformation of manufacturing, production, and other related industries and value creation processes. Flexibility, adaptability, and technology is the buzzword at the workplace. HR should strategize and implement a virtual office setup for seamless collaboration between departments, business units, and clients. We, the future HRs, would really work on the understanding provided by our lively speaker. Sharing is caring is an age-old proverb. True to this thought, I would like to thank our PG Department of HRM's pillar, our HOD, Dr.N.C. Martin, for arranging this webinar, and our Professor Subatini for her support to organize this webinar, providing us with an enlightening tour to the pragmatic arena of HR. Finally, I extend my gratitude to the participants from various professions and students. Kindly fill up the feedback form, which is provided in the chat box below with your name and email ID. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you, Pooja. Thank you for your word of thanks, and I'm glad that you're able to summarize most of the point that I have deliberated. Interesting. That's good. Good to know that. Thank you, friends. Thank you, Akshay, for giving me this opportunity to talk to your student fraternity of friends and colleagues here. I really enjoyed sharing my bit of knowledge on this to all of you. I know this is a very vast subject. I would be more than happy to spend more time with you all, but feel free to even mail me on anything. I'll be really happy to answer most of your questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. Thank you, gentlemen. Right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So may I take leave now? Is there anything else?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Right.
Thank you, sir.